The route here was slow and painfully fought for. This march is a major breakthrough. Soldiers had to push through dense Russian minefields and fortifications. Soldiers storming enemy positions under heavy fire. Another front line. Far from the front line, Russia is waging economic war.
Mate, say, you see where I'm on this? Straight in, like, over there, but there's bushes, mate. You ain't going to be able to do it.
This stuff doesn't get any lighter. Get that fixed. So this is a good place for a camp. Lots of water, lots of trees, pretty dense, can be hard to get here. And once I've built the privy, sorted out the water, one of the major things I do is set up the camp, set up taps and various other things to use as a forward control medical base. But the first thing I do, because I lied about the privy, is I take this off. Get it ready for action, make sure it's fine. Because this is my first response kit.
Let's go, we're gonna find a way over! Let's go, Bravo! Oh, for fuck! How are they doing on the right? What are they doing on the right? What do you got, Ben?
Jesus Christ.
Alright, Greg! Alright, come on, let's go! Who's not there? You're gonna get back.
Put pressure on there. Now!
Over there! Hey! Hey! 11 o'clock! 11 o'clock!
It's still pumping, put more pressure on. I don't care how hard you press, press. Speed kills.
Good. I'm over there! 11 o'clock!
Okay, keep pressing hard as you can. Stop filming, she's not going to make it. We rely on small helium balloons to locate the enemy and each other. Surprisingly great at getting tactical information. Meteorology students from Dalhousie University first suggested this. They have trained multiple operators who mainly dress as civilians and launch from behind the lines. We routinely use small drones as well for close-in data. We basically enter low Earth orbit space, and that's no benefit to us, but the tactical information from the cameras is really useful. The main problem we have is finding them after they land, but as you can see, we manage mostly. Losing equipment's a bad idea, regaining it is impossible. We really have very limited supplies. We analyze it, and then they radio us with code words for the information. It works. Hate losing people. When we lose people, we just bury them where they are if it's safe to do so. There's no way we can evacuate anybody. Thankfully it's rare. We're avoiding contact as much as we can. Just move in, camp in, move in, camp in. Insidiously and slowly going west and south to get to LA. Such gear as I have is pretty basic. It's got the one N95 to try not to breathe into open wounds and a few pads. Tensor bandages worth the weight in gold these things. Wasn't happy about this. It took me a while to get the thing out of it. Got my Burns kit. Making do with whatever we can find. Supplies are becoming less and less frequent the further we get away from the Canadian border, for obvious reasons. But those pilots, some of them are doing 5 or 6 jumps to get to us, under hostile fire most of the way. I really hate this pack, but I should be grateful I have one. A lot of people are using ultralight stuff and it's just not big enough. Figure out where we are. Plastic bags. Throw water in this from the ponds and streams, put it in the sunlight, and you have kind of clean water. So I've got 2 taps, set these up so people don't have to expose to the rain and the sun. Mostly the injuries, I can stabilise them in 2 or 3 days and we can try and evacuate them out, or they get fit for combat again. One of the most useful bits of kit they sent me is this. It's actually another tap, but it's got a mesh controlled, for mosquitoes, hammock in it. It's pretty basic. I don't have a pad, but you know, the temperature's really hot these days, so this is working quite well. I can put a bad casualty into the hammock system and then I can treat them above the ground. Makes it a lot easier on me, probably a lot more comfortable for them. The backup first aid kit, I use this to resupply my on-the-go medic in action kit. It's all very heavy. Of course, I'm also carrying light food, a water filter and my own sleeping system. It's pretty basic, it's pretty heavy.
I have a tow strap.
Using old pre-war ATVs, repurposed for action, and some old armoured cars, which, being Canadian, they're made of plastic. I try and avoid travelling in them. They're next to useless against Russian armour and planes, but they do allow the mobile infantry to run off. Our heavy force is the 1st Royal Army, plunges down from Lethbridge, and they have all the heavy gear and weapons and air support. We don't have that. The 1st Royal Army swung south, bypassing San Francisco, which had been heavily reinforced by Russia, and headed directly for LA. Mobile artillery and armoured drones are hurting the Russians badly.
Горить. Горить. Все горить, палає.
Отак от буває, коли приходиш на українську землю. Отак от буває.
Картоплю спиздили, блядь, десь нашу. Підар їбучі. Картоплю спиздили, блядь, десь нашу. Підар їбучі.
Most people have heard by now the news from LA. 8 years of war and no nukes were fired.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. A major power outage has been reported in the following states: California, Oregon, Nevada, Washington, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico and Montana. The outage is affecting the whole Western interconnection power grid. Cyber attacks against the United States have been prevalent, and while the federal government is investigating this, we ask all residents affected by this outage to stay indoors. Please use battery-operated flashlights in the dark. Candles are highly discouraged since they are a fire hazard. Keep refrigerator and freezer doors closed as possible. Federal and state governments are now working with FEMA to correct the problem and to restore power as soon as possible. This concludes this alert.
Canadian plan worked great. The Alberta and the Manitoba and Saskatchewan divisions that pushed straight into LA worked very well. They had a hard go because they had all the tanks and most of the planes that we had left and all the heavy equipment and artillery. So they went slow and they took a lot of casualties, but they were winning. With our sweep through, we were almost ready to do the last 500 miles, and then we got the news. Vancouver, LA, San Francisco, San Diego, I think Honolulu, hit by ICBMs, Russian ICBMs. Destroyed. Russia had been pulling its troops out, we weren't aware of that. The troops that were left were very small in number, and they've then evacuated to the Alabama and Texas Air Force bases and flew out.
This is an NBC News special report.
Live from Washington, D.C., a live shot of our nation's capital. This is an NBC News special report as we bring you the latest information regarding this worldwide crisis.
The emergency alert system has been activated. This is a message broadcast at the request of the White House and the U.S. Department of Defense. This is not a test. The North American Aerospace Defense Command has detected the launch of 4 missiles. These missiles are believed to be carrying a nuclear warhead and is expected to hit Honolulu, San Francisco, Los Angeles and Vancouver within the next 15 to 25 minutes. This is an attack warning. I repeat, this is an attack warning. An attack warning indicates that an actual attack on the United States has been detected and that immediate protective measures should be taken. All residents of Honolulu, San Francisco, and Los Angeles should seek out a fallout shelter as soon as possible. If such a shelter is not available in your location, Seek refuge in a basement or interior room on the lowest level of a sturdy structure. Take a battery-powered radio for use during your stay in the shelter. Do not leave your shelter until it is declared safe to do so. If you leave your shelter, you may be exposing yourself to radioactive fallout. Fallout is a byproduct of nuclear explosions. Prolonged exposure to fallout may result in sickness or death. If someone dies as a result of the fallout, remove the body outside of the inner shelter and place it on the other side of the room. If possible, cover it with a blanket or fabric. After 14 days, you will be able to take the body outdoors and properly dispose of it. Pets should be euthanized. They require further resources, which you cannot afford to waste. Take your pets outside and euthanize them as carefully as possible. After 14 days, you will be able to properly dispose of the body. When it is safe to go outdoors, radios will notify you. Do not go outdoors unless you are told to. Fallout sticks to clothes, and stepping outdoors puts you and your family in danger.
So we've liberated America. So we've liberated Russian-controlled North America. I don't know how many are dead. It's in the tens of millions, and it's probably going to get a lot worse because there's pretty much nothing we can do to help, though we're trying. So now my orders are to march as fast as I can to LA, trying to use American support where I can to deliver healthcare to them. And the rest of the whole regiment's there to go there and try and help. I don't know. How can you help a nuclear attack? We have to, I guess. The American president fell, so we have a new one now, and he's really into the concept of fighting Russia, and he's considering probably launching ICBMs on them. Though it's a hard call, because technically Russia can fire a lot more back, so there's a lot of debate going on about whether we'll respond with a nuclear attack or not.
Welcome to our viewers in the United States and around the world. While the U.S. is still facing a great threat, we are here to bring to you the latest information from an undisclosed media bunker. Minutes ago, White House Press Secretary Emma Williams announced that the president will speak on all stations anytime.
Stand by for an automated message from the President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 48th President of the United States of America, James Marshall.
We will not be intimidated. If the righteous men will not confront the wicked few, then evil will triumph. Anyone who doubts the strength or determination of the United States should look at our past. History is filled with discarded regimes that has foolishly tested America's resolve. We will not allow America and our allies to be blackmailed or attacked. We will not allow American cities and of our allies to be destroyed by evil regimes. We are prepared for any eventuality. The United States Congress have drafted an emergency bill to aid the federal government in evacuation and to relinquish our national supplies. The evacuation of eastern cities have proven to be effective. FEMA and state governments have drafted plans in case of an additional nuclear attack. The U.S. military has lost thousands of men and military bases. This is why I have signed an executive order to ensure that our country has sufficient troops. My executive order has requested the drafting of all men between ages 21 to 36 to report for induction in the armed forces for deployment across the country and abroad. Your country needs you during this most critical time. We must fight for our freedom. We must crush this evil regime that has ravaged our nation and claimed innocent lives. Americans on the West Coast are battling the fallout due to the nuclear radiation from the blast. It may take up to 14 days for first responders to search the area as devastated cities are locked down. NATO has also met with an emergency meeting this morning discussing more options. The United States, NATO along with 25 coalition countries will make sure that this conflict will end soon as the United Nations is no longer of use. We will pass through this time of peril and carry on the work of peace. We will prevail. May God bless our country and all who defend her.
I'm hoping we don't. I think for now what we need to do is get our act together in North America and get ourselves strong and whole again.
Has detected the launch of 2 additional nuclear missiles headed for Los Angeles and San Jose. Seek immediate shelter now. Seek immediate shelter now. Seek immediate shelter now. Seek immediate shelter.
The strong divisions between the red and blue states were fading anyway. Most states were becoming red, white and blue, with a large dash of maple syrup, because they were kind of proud of what we were doing. And like I say, a lot of Americans actually took a lot of risks to help us, and quite a few of them have joined us. Seems to me America's going to heal itself. I think they've figured out it's more important to be brothers than it is to hate each other and let a common enemy destroy them slowly but surely, however much it seems to be in the short-term interest.
You are seeing shots of the New York skyline. Most eastern cities are being evacuated as we speak. Millions of Americans are heading out of urban areas following the nuclear explosion in San Francisco. We are getting raw video footage of the nuclear blast that hit San Francisco and the incredible damage. The whole city of San Francisco destroyed. While it may take up to 14 days for first responders to enter the city, the death toll is still unknown. The Department of Defense will send an update at any.
So in this year of 2031 we have to decide what we want to do. Are we going to have a nuclear war? Are we going to try and invade Russia and beat them? I don't know. I've dealt with enough Russian casualties to know they're like me, and they bleed and they die horribly like me.
Tourists in Los Angeles frantically trying to leave a plane.
Tonight, the harrowing race to escape.
I was the last one off the dock when the firestorm came through the banyan tree and took everything with it. And I just ran out to the beach and I ran south and I just helped everybody I could along the way.
We were not prepared for what we saw. It was heartbreaking. It looks like the whole area was bombed. It looks like a war zone.
I'm hoping we do get a true peace, and I'm hoping it's not a peace like the First World War's peace that directly leads to the Second World War, in this case our fourth. We've had a lucky escape. If we don't start to retaliate with nuclear weapons, there's a good chance that Russia will stop where they are. They took out the ports on the west coast, they took out most of the major cities. We've got enough work to do in North America to fix ourselves and heal ourselves. And our reputation around the world is really bad because we haven't been able to trade, and without giving people lots of money, it turned out people really didn't like what we were doing around the world. That's it for me, somewhere in Northern California. Not looking forward to getting radiation sickness, and going to try and help people. I don't know the outcome of that. I don't know what's going to go on. If you get to see this, kitty, I love you. Toodles.
I think we're going to a live feed now from Brian Jones. Brian Jones down in the street. Brian, can you hear me?
It's absolute madness. We're not people anymore. It's a human. It's total chaos. The fear is total. It's absolute.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this series, I'm going to put it together as a film, but you can also check out Pandemic 2019. Pandemic 2019 is kind of the similar thing, but it's I don't think it's as good as this, but we'll see. But it did foretell something that happened in 2020. Toodles. Oh, and thanks for watching, and stay safe. Don't fight anybody. That's it.